What's up everyone, Luke here with another video. In today's video, I want to talk to you about some things that I've overcome in my journey and how to identify who you are and why this is important with finding success. Let's go. Hey everybody, so this is going to be kind of a heart-to-heart video. I'm going to try and keep it around 15 minutes, but I want to talk about some things that I've dealt with in my journey and kind of how to overcome them and how it's going to apply to your business and your everyday life. We're not going to be doing a group chat today. I posted in my paid members group and a lot of people just opted in for this motivational video. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there and all the single moms out there. And so a lot of people just kind of wanted to do a video instead of getting on for group chat because a lot of people have plans with either their own children or their families. So that being said, let's kind of jump into this. So my life has not been easy, and I want to say this out loud to everybody out there. Life is not easy, and it's never going to be. It never has, and it's not going to change, and you don't want to make it that way. See, life's not fair, and it just never was. And you don't want to fall into the trap, the entitlement trap of feeling like a victim. You are not, and you kind of just got to basically get over this and get on with your day. You can't struggle with stuff that is not going to change you for the better. And I'm going to basically be talking about most things today from my personal experience and some stuff that I heard from passerbyers or people that I've chatted with. And a lot of this stuff I'm still practicing, but I really truly believe that it's all true. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, what is success to you? What is success? Is it more money? And that's totally fine. I've got nothing against money. A lot of people, Ty Lopez, people in business, that's what they're motivated by. Maybe for you, it's not money. Maybe it's a healthy family. Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's to help others or help others feel at peace. Or maybe your purpose or success to you is just to leave the world in a little bit better place than what you found it in. So you got to continue to ask yourself that question. Your answer might change over time, and that's totally cool and everything, but you got to do yourself this favor. Whatever your answer is, don't choose anything that will put your freedom or your purpose in life at risk. Prioritize who you are and who you actually want to be. And don't spend time with anything or anyone that basically antagonizes or jeopardizes your character and makes you something that you're not. You got to be a warrior about this. You have to go uphill. It's an uphill battle, but I promise you at the end it's worth it. And once you've identified what success means to you, basically you have to maintain it. When you are not, or where you are not, is pretty much important to this whole entire concept of finding out who you are. So where you are not is basically as important as where you are. It's just as important as where we are not as where we are. And the reason is the first step to identifying who we are is usually not, I know exactly who I am, I know exactly what I want to do in life, but we usually know who I'm not or what I'm not going to do. So identifying is actually figuring out who you are not. It's basically a process of elimination, guys, and defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step to leading who we really are. So kind of an example, maybe you've got a group of friends that doesn't really bring out the best in you. They might not bring out the best in you because they gossip too much, or they talk behind others' backs, or maybe they even talk behind your back and they wouldn't be there if you were in a bind. Or how about that bar or that club or that friend that always drags you to the bar or the club and you end up getting the worst hangover from it, and the next day you have absolutely no productivity because you're so trash from the party from the night before. Or maybe it's a computer or video game or just a smartphone screen that gives you an excuse to wake up and not do anything and just lay in bed all day scrolling through Facebook. You got to stop doing that also. Or how about the food that we keep eating that makes us feel like trash the next day and makes us gain weight? Me personally, I like food. That's a problem of mine. I go out to eat quite a bit. And it's a problem of mine because not only is it unhealthy, but it's very expensive too, and it's actually kind of ridiculous. We fall into these repeated patterns that we get comfortable with. And so when you get comfortable, it's very important to never stay in that comfort zone, because if you stay in that comfort zone, you're never going to get out of it and you're never going to push yourself. So going back to what I said, all of the things that I just listed, if any of these apply to you, those people, those places, those things, don't give it any time and energy. Just don't do it. Drop it and put it all down. Negativity, bad company, guilt, regret, awkward situations, this all takes a big toll on us, and you just have to drop it and basically focus on you. It's extremely important. When you quit giving all of these things your time that are basically dragging you down, you will eventually become a better person, whether it's in your personal life or your business life or both. Because you just eliminated basically the who's, the what's, the what ifs, the where's, and that's keeping you from identifying what you want to do in life. What is success to you? Basically, what I've always said is too many options will confuse you. If you went to a restaurant and they had 10 different menus, it would take you hours to order because you would be so confused. And so it's best to just get rid of the excess and the stuff that's wasting your time. If it's not making you money, if it's not making you a better person, if it's not basically taking your business and accelerating it or accelerating what success means to you, then I would cut it out of your life and drop it. Instead of creating outcomes that take from us, it's a good thing to create things that actually pay us or create things that benefit us and our future. Don't waste your time on other things. So basically, you have to try your best no matter what situation you're in, because you and me and everybody else out there are all in control of our own lives. Of course, you can find a mentor or a coach or get help along the way, but in the end game, in the end result, it's all on you. If you have this mentality and don't have this victim mentality or this negative mentality, this will lead to your own success. It sounds simple in this video, but for those of you that have struggled with this, just like all of us have, especially when we were younger or before we got into business, this is one of the most important things, is not having that entitlement or victim mindset, because it never gets you anywhere. The world doesn't care. Life isn't fair. It's a big, cruel world out there. If you choose success for yourself because you want it and deserve it, and cut the excess out and make a change, I guarantee you this is going to lead to success for you. And the funny thing is, if you do this, you'll almost accidentally figure out what's important to you or what means the most to you just by using the process of elimination. Knowing who we are is hard, but by using this process of elimination, it can make things a lot easier. So if you can relate to this, definitely drop a comment down below. I'd like to hear what everybody's got to say about this. And I hope this kind of motivates you and helps you guys identify what success means to you, because you have to figure out what success means to you before you can really thrive. Some of the difficult situations that I've had to overcome where, people ask, how do you overcome stuff? Or how do you not have that entitled or this basically mentality that you're a victim? So I grew up with a mother that tried murdering my dad. It was in the paper and everything. If you want to reach out, send me a message. More than happy to show you the news article, but it made the paper and everything. Naturally, this made this hard going to school. People would hear my last name and they would talk about it as if it was my own problem, even though it was my mother that did this. I grew up going to school trying to invite friends over to my house, and their parents would hear my last name and they would say, oh, you can't go over there because that's the kid whose mother tried to murder his father, etc., etc. Lots of bad situations that came about in my life early on that gave me kind of a rough upbringing, and it really affected me, throughout school, going out, led up to me dropping out of school and everything. And by society standards, I was destined to fail because I didn't have the proper upbringing. And this whole time when I was younger, and of course as a younger kid, I was in middle school, high school, it's very hard to self-identify or how to figure out how to stop being a victim. And I had some other things happen to me growing up. I got into some trouble. I had some more childhood stuff happen, just stuff that no normal person should have to deal with, or, a regular family deals with. And this whole time growing up, I always said to myself, oh, life isn't fair. I had friends, and I had even a couple other family members, cousins that, their parents were rich and everything was so easy for them. And, it kind of broke me down a little bit. And I got so low at one point where I looked around and, I wanted to blame everybody else, and I wanted to feel like a victim. I wanted to see counselors. I wanted to basically stop everything that I was doing and just feel bad about what had happened to me. I wanted to get some kind of justification on why did this happen to me. And I wanted to feel love and attention and validation from people because of the fact that I felt like growing up, I never really got a fair chance. And I had this kind of victim mentality of, my mom tried to kill my dad, and that's why, I don't have the things that I want, because I didn't have the ideal childhood. I didn't have the ideal parents, and I didn't have the ideal opportunity. And this went on for a long time. Obviously, this is probably 10, 15 years ago, back when I was like 13, 14 years old. And it was a constant thing, though, and I never really truthfully got over it when I was younger. I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't identify what I needed to change. And then one day, when I finally left high school, and the reason why I left high school is because things were so bad at home between my father and my stepmother that I could not focus in class. I could not focus at all on the grades or the paper in front of me. All I wanted to do was get out of that classroom and do something that would mentally and physically stimulate kind of my brain, because I could not sit in a desk and stare down at paper without thinking about the traumatic events that happened the night before. So, there was screaming, there was yelling, there was cop calling, there was leaving the house. It was just horrendous stuff that not a lot of regular people have had to deal with. And, you might relate to this in one way or another, or maybe you're thinking of some traumatic events that happened to you when you were younger. But the whole point of this, and kind of coming to a closure here, is when I left school, I dropped out. And I believe I was actually in the 8th grade. I was actually in 8th grade. 8th grade is the last class that I actually ever finished, or the last grade. I did make it to 9th grade, but I never even continued on. I went there for a few months, and then boom, I was gone. So I never even finished 9th grade. And so by society standards, I was destined to fail 100%. And it wasn't until I dropped out until I started working. I started working some physical labor jobs. I posted some ads up on Craigslist. I used to have this little business called Dumb Work, and basically what it was is I would offer physical labor in exchange for like $15 to $20 an hour per cash, and I would perform work that people just didn't want to do. Whether it was, yard cleanup, or it was helping somebody install fence posts. I was 14 or 15. I was in good shape. I was young. And, I was a bigger kid for my age. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to post some kind of ad. I'm going to do something for myself. And I remember when I got my first job, it was helping a guy dig fence posts. And this is, like I said, almost 10 years ago now. And I just remember him calling me and him asking me how much I wanted. And I said, how hard is the work? I've never actually done that before, but I'm young. I'm in shape. I can definitely help you. And I remember we agreed to around $18 an hour cash, which was pretty awesome. And this was a big thing for me. And I, for once in my life, I not only felt good about my situation, but nothing else mattered. And I realized at that point that money and actually helping others, helping them accomplish tasks, was kind of something that kind of motivated me. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I remember getting done with that first job, and I did such a good job for the person, they awarded me and ended up paying me around $100 for around 4 hours of work. So that was like $25 an hour that I got paid to do that. I was super happy. It was like one of my first jobs that I ever did. And the reason why I started labor stuff is at that time, that's kind of all I knew. I did have some technical background, but I didn't really think about phones at that time because I was, 14 or 15, and I was just trying to find something that would mentally stimulate my brain and physically so I wouldn't have to dwell and think about this childhood that I had or the stuff going on at home. But eventually, as, I continued on doing things for myself, I realized that the more I did for myself and the less that I focused on that I'm a victim and that by society standards I'm meant to fail and that I can't do this and I can't do that because of my parents, the less blame that I put on everybody else, the less that I thought about how unlucky I was, how unfortunate it was, how I felt like, well, I should get a second chance, or, I should have different parents, or I should do this, or I should do that, or this should be given to me. The more that I got rid of that entitlement or that victim or entrapment mentality of basically thinking that, I was never going to be anything because I just didn't have ideal circumstances, that slowly but surely kind of cured that entitlement or that victim mentality and negative mindset. And I cannot tell you how important motivation and mindset is. Now, as of today, I do have my high school diploma, and I didn't go back to get it because I needed money or I'm going to go out and get a job or anything like that. But I went back to get it because I wanted to say that I've got it. There are other high school dropouts in my family also that did very well. My dad is a high school dropout. He's been in business for 30 years. So, and obviously a lot of you know very successful college or high school dropouts as well. But the thing is had I have never ever got over this mentality thing or this mindset thing with that negative or entrapped or victim mentality, I would have never ever been able to accomplish anything that I've done in life. For those of you guys that don't know, and I've shared my story quite a few times, I actually filed bankruptcy before, and I bounced back within around 2 to 3 years. So it's all about the mentality. If you want to fail, you will fail. If you want to succeed, you will succeed. So I grew up with a lot of harsh things. I've been through almost every strain of life. Like I said, between dropping out, a horrible home life, murder stuff in the paper regarding my family, and just growing up with that was very hard, and then going to jail when I was younger because I got into some trouble. Just based on everything, I was able to fix all of that, and I honestly accredit 90% of it to mindset. Now, as I said earlier in the video, you need to maintain this success once you figure out what success is to you. But once I figured out success to me was to have money, help other people, and then just kind of have a free environment or an environment that doesn't have any of this excess garbage in it or drama or rumors or just chaoticness that I grew up with. Once I figured that out, I started working harder and harder at it, and I maintained that. I created that for myself because I realized that that's what I wanted. Before I broke the spell on the victim or negativity mindset, I thought that I was going to go through life and just blame all of my problems on my upbringing. I wasn't going to fix anything because I couldn't. Society said that I couldn't. Society said that because you dropped out, because you had parents that, were in the paper for murder, you had parents that, were dysfunctional, etc., and you had, little to no family support with all of that stuff going on, society said you're supposed to fail. But I said no to society's standards, and I created my own future, my own success after I figured out who I wanted to be. So once you identify yourself with who you want to be, that is when you will be on the track to success, and that's when you will really start to thrive. So that being said, I just kind of wanted to have a heart-to-heart here with everybody and kind of talk about some of my own experiences that I went through when I was younger and kind of how to identify everything and how to identify who you should be or what success means to you. So I hope this helps some of you. I hope it uplifts some of you. If anybody has had any kind of similar experiences, this is all really important stuff. And it's also extremely important, as I said earlier in the video, a process of elimination. It's important to eliminate the excess junk that is not helping you excel in life. And it's extremely important to identify that, because once you get rid of all that, I think you will find who you want to be if you are not already there yet or working on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Make sure you guys smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.